We're coming. We're coming. And we ain't backing down.
Kind of become a rivalry game because of the quality of the program.
Finish! Finish! To get to where you want to go, you have to go undefeated. You have to beat Alabama.
Welcome to Countdown to College Game Day, presented by Samsung QLED TV. We're coming to you live from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Because the Tide are rolling in. And we've got our all-stars in the building. Marty Smith joining me here, and we all love his suit. You just said you wanted his suit. Marty, how does it feel to be in the middle of all of this
I
right
was
now?
just saying to Maria, guys, what an amazing scene. What a blessing to be here with all of you. Hey, this is what it's about. This is as good as sports gets.
I totally agree, Marty. Now listen, we gave you a mic for a reason so that you can pick a fan and have a conversation with them, because that's what you do best. So walk with me down the aisle and you choose somebody that you want to talk to.
Who should it be? Who should I check with? This guy looks like he's ready to go. He's got on his goggles. He's ready to funnel some cold beer. I like it, baby. I like it. This guy's America. He's ready to ride today. We got a little bit of LSU Go Tiger love in the house. I like it. This is amazing. Hey, where y'all? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Roll Tide! Roll Tide! Roll Tide! Roll Tide! Roll Tide! Roll Tide! Oh, that was weak. You better bring it, boy. Roll Tide! Now they're away. Now we're talking. We got a championship belt. Somebody thinks he's coming in here to take a victory. He said it's savage. How about them Man, it's lit up. I'm getting spit on. It is rowdy out here in T-Town. Look at this cat. He's ready to come off the top rope like Nacho Libre. How about it, boy? What's that? He can't hear me. I'm not surprised because he has a leather helmet on.
This is why you bring Marty Smith out over to the Twitterverse, because
The hype man.
that's the reaction
The
you're
hype
going to get.
man.
Oh, David Pollack, Jason
Hey.
Fitz. Oh, hi, guys.
Oh, Maria Taylor, welcome back.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you. Your vacation.
I've always been here. I would never leave
Am I
this
in the
show.
right place? Should you be here?
No, you're good.
Yeah,
that's
no.
fine. There we go.
Marty, that was good.
It's important that I look taller than David at all times and stand right next to him while I'm doing it, so I can like dominate the entire situation. Guys, how about it? We finally made it to Bama LSU, the game we've been talking about all season long.
Offenses, Tua and Joey all year long. We've been talking about both those cats. It's going to be fun. Now, listen, a little deflated with Tua being banged up, but still a scene. Still, I think they're
it's
still
not
excited.
deflated. It just is a better setup for like one of those epic movie endings. Either way, you know, you've got
Like Jalen Hurts coming in and
man,
Mac Jones.
Yeah, you come on now.
9 o'clock Eastern, and Pollack's on fire. Or is it 8 o'clock Eastern? What time is it?
It's early.
It's early.
It's
Early and cold.
Eastern. What have you noticed, Marty, since being out here? I know, when did you get here? Like Thursday or Friday or something like that? But you've been in the middle of it.
So I was in Baton Rouge all week, from Monday to Thursday. So I spent my entire week with LSU. And it was interesting. Jacoby Stevens, their safety, said to me, for the last couple of years, we've tried to tell ourselves we could beat Alabama. This year, we know we can beat Alabama. And I think one big reason is that potent offense with Joe Burrow and Joe Brady. And I asked Burrow what he learned about himself this season. And he said very flatly, nothing. I always knew I was going to have this kind of season. I always knew that I was capable of doing this. I just needed the system to do it. And Brady drives up I-10 from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, implements that system, and it's an historic pace. He's going to break every offensive record in the history of that place.
Can we give a little credit, though, to Coach O? I mean, you're talking about implementing a system. It takes a lot of swallowing of pride of a coach to come in and say, not the way I usually do it, but it's going to be better for this team if we bring in somebody else that can get this out of this quarterback. That's what they've done.
Is it swallowing of pride, or is it that Bama keeps whipping your butt? Like, this is the very reason why. Like, this offense changed because he looked at Nick and he's like, Nick is kicking my butt. Everybody else I'm having a lot of success against. What has he done? He's changed the offense. I got to do the same thing, but going and finding the right guy is another thing. This wasn't on everybody's offseason hire.
Yep.
Joe Brady wasn't the guy that everybody was going, hey, go hire him, to bring him in, to meet with him. This is why he did it. For this week right here is why LSU is different, because they have to beat Alabama.
Oh, by the way, there was no guarantee that it would work. You know what I mean?
No.
There was no guarantee that, okay, yes, it's going to work with Joe Burrow. He's obviously the answer. Joe Brady, whatever we do, the receivers are going to be able to make the plays. Like, a lot of things had to go right for this offense to look the way that it does.
It did, and it was funny. I asked Burrow this week when he knew that it was going to be a different offense. He said, when I walked in day one to look at the day one installation, and Steve Ensminger, the offensive coordinator, was in the room, and Joe Brady, the new passing game coordinator, was in the room, I opened up the playbook and started flipping pages, and I said, where the hell did this come from? Where the hell did this come from? Where did this come from? Coach, what are we doing? And what they said was, we are going to open this offense up. You can run it. Go run it. And he has. Look at Sweats
Corso, he's taking over.
Today.
He's taking over.
Coach
Look at
Corso.
Corso's up there doing the
This is
helmet.
the best part of the whole show.
I love that.
Watch. Hey.
There you go. Kiss the helmet.
What a national treasure. He is a national treasure.
I was going to say international, you know, because they're going to Ireland.
We are going to Ireland.
It's an international treasure at this point. So you spent a lot of time at LSU, but you have a lot of experience, obviously, talking to Alabama. So since last year, that loss to Clemson, what has this team kind of been going through? Where are they right now in the scheme of, are they trying to prove something? Is it Bama time? Is it every day the process, or is it different?
Isn't it interesting that it seems like Alabama's kind of flown low this season?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're only 8-0, but here's the thing about this week. Saban is so much harder on those guys in terms of being like grizzly when they're playing Mercer than he is when they're playing the number 2 team.
You ain't got to worry about him being up. You ain't got to worry about him being up for this.
Exactly. He knows they're going to be ready. Look, LSU planned all week long for the last 2 weeks. They never questioned whether Tua was going to play.
Right.
We all know Tua's going to play. He's going to play at an extremely high level, and tackling in space is going to be vital because he gets the ball out so well and in such a perfect position for Ruggs and Waddle and Smith and Judy and all those guys to do what they do. So tackling in space is going to be big, which makes Grant Delpit's injury important.
I hope he's okay. I keep saying that because, and of course, David's always mentioning, well, he's missed a lot of tackles before, but for him to be the guy that's
He struggled.
Yeah.
He struggled this year compared to last year, big time. I mean,
and he's been the heart of the defense.
he's just, I don't know why it is. I don't know if it's more plays in space and he's had to make tackles and hasn't been successful, but he's missed more tackles this year than he did all of last year. So he's definitely struggled a little bit. Now being banged up doesn't help. But by the way, both these offenses are nightmares. And let's
no matter what.
This is a Big 12 game. Get ready for a Big 12 game. And if I'm Alabama, by the way, if I'm Alabama, my game plan is totally different than it's been all year long. Everything you've seen from me will be night and day different. I don't have the same quarterback. He just had surgery. If I'm smart, you're getting old school Alabama.
Yeah.
You're getting Najee Harris a lot.
Let's go.
You're getting play action a lot. I'm running the play clock down. I need to limit Tua's opportunities to get hit. I need him to be smart, not scramble around and try to make plays. I think we'll get a much different looking offense from Alabama.
LSU's defense on the field. They've been struggling anyway. So
I agree with all that. I just think Joe Brady at some point has had a whole section of that playbook you were talking about earlier that's called Just for Bama. And that's what I'm waiting to see is the stuff we haven't seen. So
There's an interesting part to that. If you look at the Auburn game, LSU only scored 23 points, all right? I asked Burrow and Coach O what they did differently than what other teams had done. They put in that basically they had shown nothing on film leading into that game that they did against LSU. So you know that Saban and that bunch is going to have a whole lot of different wrinkles defensively to show LSU.
But you know what's hard to do? It's hard to do a ton when you have true freshman linebackers. And that's the thing with that. That's what will be fun to watch. Where Burrow is best, 84% over the middle of the field. Like, that's just stupid. Video game numbers. I think that's where Alabama's weakest. They got lockdown corners on the outside that can play man. But working those freshmen over the middle of the field, giving the RPO game.
Well, let me tell you this, Marty. You did a great job working the middle of this field.
Yeah, you did.
Crushed it. You got us off to the right start. You're exactly what we needed to start out this morning. Tuscaloosa. It's a Tuscaloosa treasure, honestly, that Marty Smith could even join us.
I love you.
I had a kid scream. He was like, I just want Marty's suit.
Yeah.
That's my people right there, y'all.
Around the country.
I'm taking your microphone. You're too much of a star. He's out. I'm
You
just
gotta
getting
go.
rid
Get
of
out.
I can't
This is
handle
our
it.
show, Mark. No, you.
You leave him hanging. Leave him hanging. Leave him hanging.
Bye, Marty.
Don't leave him
Love
hanging.
you.
See brother.
Marty Smith is an American treasure. I'm telling you. Y'all make noise for Marty. I'm going to walk around here. I've been out here this morning. First of all, I love the signs. Like, Burrow still sucks his thumb. Is that a problem for you? I mean, if he plays well, who cares if he sucks his thumb?
He still sucks his thumb.
He doesn't play well.
He doesn't play well. The Heisman. No.
Oh wow, there's so much hate going on here. We've got the Hey Auburn. At least it's equestrian season. I mean, I don't know. LSU hates Christmas. Nobody hates Christmas. You're wearing a Christmas hat.
LSU does. They just hate it. They absolutely hate it.
I don't know. Pollack and I, by the way, are already on Christmas music. Don't at me. I don't care what anybody says. I'm all in on Christmas music going on. Let's see. I love the glasses. Your level of confidence today is
100%.
okay.
100% in Bama.
And is this a game day specific out? Like, is this a every home game outfit or just for this game?
Every home game, we wear the jacket, we got the glasses, everything. Every home game, we haven't lost.
Okay, he's got the look, I guess. What we were just talking about Tua's health. At the end of the day, there's one person that's been making sure that Tua Tagovailoa has had the opportunity to play today. Maria had the chance to hang out with him yesterday. Check this out.
You know, we talked about our 48-hour plan, right? We're incredibly deliberate and intentional with that plan so that every hour is mapped out. Every minute is mapped out. He was getting and is going to continue to get some type of treatment 24/7. So the Alter G is an anti-gravity treadmill. It allows us to really essentially do non-impact training in terms of running and getting them back to a functional gait. You know, we use this on any injury that we get, but obviously with Tua, and we were clearly focused on the ankle, so he would use this daily. What we'll do with our athletes is we'll send them home with one of these units, and he can sleep in this unit during the night. A zero gravity chair. The theory being we're trying to move some of this blood, some of the swelling in that area out of there, get it up the leg, and get it reabsorbed by the body and get some of that swelling out.
So that was Alabama's head athletic trainer, Jeff Allen. We walked through everything that they did to get Tua back on the field. So all of these guys could continue to be excited.
Is it bad that I sleep in those? Those Normatec
Yes,
sleeves?
it's absolutely
I mean, I do that on the regular.
Sleep in those. That's
but
okay.
I tell you what, though, all that stuff is for Tua. It's got to be exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's all he does.
First of all,
is
Marcus
treatment.
Spears, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody knows Swagoo.
Hey,
Don't need no introduction.
Listen, today I'm not professional.
Okay.
It's over with. DP, I told everybody, I said, for 2 hours Saturday morning, I'm going to be professional.
Yeah.
Out the window, dog. It's LSU today.
Okay,
Straight up.
David, play a game with Marcus. It's called Tell Me I'm Wrong, right?
Yes.
Because he
Yes.
believes LSU is going to win hands down. Tell him why he's wrong. Give him reasons why Alabama would win.
LSU's defensive front seven, I would say, scares me. I don't think they're dominant. I don't think they rush the passer great. I think Alabama's line is really, really good. Probably the best offensive line they've seen. Best secondary they've seen. So there's going to be a lot of factors that it's not going to be easy. But Joe Burrow versus freshman inside linebackers, to me, I think is a spot to point where they could have a lot of success.
Okay, you're wrong, but I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Nah. DP, honestly, when you look at this game, it's the first time LSU is going to walk in this game in a long time where you say they legit
Have a
play
chance to
well,
win.
they can win the game.
Yeah.
Right? It's been superhuman
years.
performances that they would need the last 8 years because of what they did scheme-wise. I mean, they play well. They can win this game. It doesn't have to be anything off the radar or crazy.
So Marty earlier said that the difference is this year they believe they can win this game. Fine.
No, they know they can win.
They know they can
There's
win.
a difference between that.
So how does that play into your mentality from a player standpoint when you walk on the field and you have that difference?
Well, I mean, look, we played a long time. When you get dumb it down to just if we play well and execute, we can win a game, right? And I've been on teams where you walk in the stadium and you like,
You already know.
oh,
When he came
let's
to
go.
Georgia.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to happen.
I'm gonna let you have that.
I appreciate
I'm gonna
that.
let you have that.
Appreciate that.
But no, I think it's the first time to that point is that, and it's a clear message between Ensminger and Joe Brady. Look, guys, we go execute, athlete on athlete. I'll take my guys over those guys over there. So it's just different.
And players, so Fitz, players you know when you're outmatched.
feel that, yeah.
And by the way, you try to do too much. You try to do, sometimes you ask a quarterback to now go make plays and battle Tua. He ain't ready for that. Joe Burrow, he ain't scared. He knows he can do
Like I
this.
said, Joe Burrow is a 22-year-old grown man that is not afraid of anything.
And he shouldn't be.
He showed up in Austin, he was like waving to the fans like, bye, y'all.
For real,
I
to
don't
that
even
point,
care.
I really believe he's oblivious to it.
Yeah.
Like, you know how players act. Like, oh, I'm good, I'm going to walk in the state. Joe Burrow really don't care.
No.
And you need somebody in a game like this.
Does not
But
care.
let's take the opposite side of that. If you're a Bama, you got proof of concept. I mean, you've been in these situations a million times. You
Won
always
the last
win.
8 straight.
I mean, you walk in, if you're Bama, you got that same level
Well, see,
of we got this
the difference for Bama is this is normal for them.
Yep.
Right? Like, they played in big games since we've been covering college football.
Yeah.
So for them, it's like, all right, let's go out and handle our business and move on to the next week. For LSU, it's, oh, we legitimately got a chance to win. Now let's see if we can go do it. So I would prefer be Alabama in that situation, right? Playing in games, national championships, college football playoffs. This whole atmosphere is nothing for them. LSU is new to them a
We
little
will
bit.
say this, the last time we saw them in it, which was a national championship against Clemson, it did not
I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say
It was the first time that we've seen like a crack in the armor where it's like, this is not the team that we know. And we saw it in the playoff against Oklahoma. I thought towards the end of the game, it wasn't the same disciplined Alabama team that
And
we
look,
used to see.
to be honest, like this defense ain't world beaters. This is the first time at Alabama where it's been like we've always said there's a clear advantage to those dudes over there.
Yeah.
Like this year, you look at this defense, it's
Young.
really good players, but they young, and it's like, where's the dominant 2 or 3 guys? Last year was Quentin Williams.
Yeah.
We was here with Jonathan Allen. We was here with, so
Yeah.
this year, Terrell Lewis, if he's healthy and can impact the game, where is Raekwon Davis, by the way?
He's there. He's there. But he's just, I think he showed you, he's got all the physical skill set, but he's just not going to be a Quentin Williams. He can't take over a game. Anthony Jennings, I don't think he's ever been the same since the injuries, but he's a guy that can be an impact player and has to be. But make no mistake, the corners for Alabama are legit.
Real.
Right.
Legit. Xavier McKinney in the middle is legit. So I think they have legit players. It's just not all across the board. And it's not too deep. I think this game is going to very much resemble the Clemson game a couple years ago when Alabama, it was death by 1,000 cuts. It wasn't Deshaun Watson going nuts in the first half. It was another play and another play and another play and another play. That's to keep the key for LSU. Keep the ball. Hey, run 1,000 paper cuts and just keep cutting, and then all of a sudden that tree gonna fall down. You better get off my girl. Hold up now.
All right, Marcus, let me let you go back to being a professional and be Savage season. There's a belt right there if you want to hang out with it. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus Spears. He's here with SEC Nation. You can watch it on SEC Network. Comes on at 10 a.m. Eastern. He's going to be professional the entire time. Yes. I don't know how he's going to survive in Tuscaloosa, but I'm not here to tell him.
Who's gonna mess with him?
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
We're going to go to the game together so I can talk all the trash and you can clean it up for me. Perfect.
All right, we're going to send it to, well, actually, our guy Fitz here. You do this every week, right? Fitz's Big Four. It's presented by Samsung QLED TV. And let's see what Fitz has for us this week.
It's time for Fitz's Big Four. This week, we take a look at the top 4 teams flat out disrespected by the College Football Playoff Committee's initial rankings. At number 4 on our list, 17 in the hearts of the committee, Minnesota. They take on Penn State. They're undefeated for the first time since 1941. Come on, PJ Fleck just signed an extension that keeps him in place, in theory, as head coach until 2026, just to keep the Florida State Seminoles office sent after they fired Coach Willie Taggart. This Minnesota team has crushed Illinois, Nebraska, Rutgers, and Maryland by a combined 168-41. Come on, give them a little love. At number 3 on our list, Baylor. Auburn's number 11. Florida's number 10.
They both have 2 losses. Oklahoma sitting at number 9. They have 1 loss. Baylor taking on TCU. Come on, man. They're still undefeated. It's not just about wins now. It's about style. Matt Rule's Bears got to show off. They're going to have to take on TCU this week. Then they're going to have to beat Oklahoma big to rise in these rankings. The committee made a statement by burying undefeated Baylor at number 12, putting them at 3 on our disrespect list. At number 2, the defending national champions, Clemson. They're taking on NC State this week. With the defense, it isn't getting the credit it deserves. Travis Etienne, last time I checked, is still a monster. And the fact is, I know they haven't played anybody, but they're still Clemson. We know how good they are. They're sitting at number 5 in the initial rankings. They don't even make the top 4. Yes, it'll rectify itself, but still, that is going to be bulletin board material. And at the top of our list, number 2, LSU. How is number 2 disrespected? Oh, I don't know. Look at the resume. Yes, Ohio State's a spectacular football team. But again, you have to look at who LSU has beat. Yeah, they beat Texas, and everybody says Texas stinks now. Fine. But they also beat Florida. They also beat Auburn. Those are 2 teams the committee just told you that they love. So through it all, LSU's looking at it and saying, my God, what do we have to do to be number 1? Well, the answer? Beat Bama. Who's been disrespected? You tell us what you think. That's our list for this week.
And ready to fight.
All right. So we get our college football playoff rankings. You don't like my disrespect me. I'm just saying, LSU's at number 2. What do they have to do to be 1? Come on. They have the better resume.
That's atrocious.
David's
Are you kidding me?
Okay, so
the big 4.
So why would you?
Classic.
Why would you? LSU. First of all, who else has? Ohio State has 2 top 20 wins as well, by the way.
Or versus 2 top 10 wins. Top 10
top
wins.
20 Tims.
Top 10 wins
with
for LSU.
clubs upside the head. Like literally frying pan, like
who's played the more difficult
average of 50,
so far?
40.
Who's played the more
maybe
difficult
LSU
schedule?
has, yeah,
Right.
they has. But Ohio State has been absolutely ridiculous. And Ohio State, when you made this list, had Chase Young. So that was the difference between them.
Well, the question, though, is who is disrespected.
Clemson, you have a case.
Robert,
Minnesota, you have a case.
Thank you very much.
Baylor, you have a case.
Thank you very much.
The fact that you put LSU number 1 completely ruins your list. Completely
ruined his whole list.
The whole list is ruined.
Good, I'm telling you.
No, it's not.
At the end of the day, you're right. Ohio State's beaten everybody. What I want from the committee, though, is some level of consistency on what they look for. So
you can't be consistent with something that's inconsistent. Some people, when you have all these committee members that value different things, your eyes might mean more, your stats might mean more. You can't tell me to be consistent. There is no form of consistency with multiple viewpoints all across the country deciding who they think is best with a different criteria. There is no consistency.
Right, but within one ranking, there should be some level of consistency. So Clemson goes below Penn State, but then they just say to Heather Dinich, you know what, we're going to put Bama at 3 because they just look better.
Because some people in the room use eye test. Some people in the room use stats.
I understand that, and this is the analogy I've used a million times. If you ask all of us what the best hamburger is, we all have a different answer to it. I understand we all have a different answer to that, but if we're asked collectively to make a list of the top 25 hamburgers every week, there should be consistency within that one list. This week, there wasn't consistency within the one list. I'm asking for consistency from the committee when they present us a final product. That's what they're not giving.
I think we just get lost in that. I love that we have the rankings, but they ultimately mean absolutely nothing.
Jack,
you're right.
Swatch.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like they mean
Clemson, where they're at right now. You saw his
matter.
thing on the thing. It said 75% chance of making the college football playoff.
Right.
That's one of the best odds in the
Because
country.
at the end of the day,
and they're ranked 5.
If they win out and everyone say the same, Clemson's gonna be in the top.
By the way, those SEC teams play each other that are above. There's 4 teams above.
Yeah.
They play each other.
Yeah.
Clemson, just win.
Right.
But it does tell you that Clemson has 0 margin for error.
Yeah.
None.
Right.
They lose, they go.
They cannot lose.
And to your point, I think this was a very safe top 4 by the committee because they know the top 4 teams will take care of each other. So, hey, put them in the top 4. It'll work itself
we'll see
out.
what happens.
By the way, shameless plug, on these same areas you're watching this, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all of these places, you can watch Rankings Reactions Tuesday night. Me and Mike Golick Jr. hanging out.
Twitter Live.
Oh, you know we got that. 8 p.m. Eastern. Every week we get
you guys do it in a house?
Yeah, we're doing it on Mike's couch.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Just sitting on Mike's couch eating Cheez-Its and talking about rankings.
Nice.
It's maybe the best ever. Okay, that's not the only game today. We've talked so much about Alabama, LSU. There are other big games today, notably one huge one to the disrespect conversation, Minnesota, Penn State. This is a huge game for Minnesota, who thinks they're disrespected. All they got to do is go out and somehow beat Penn State.
Minnesota undefeated for the first time since 1941. Are they 8-0? I just was hearing about the fact that they have a complete sellout crowd. Honestly, like, I'm really happy for this fan base. I'm happy for Minnesota, but there's no question in my mind that Penn State's going to roll in there and get the win.
Yeah.
That's just what I feel about it. I don't think that they're going to have enough answers, but I'm excited for what PJ Fleck is doing. happy for his contract extension, and it's going to be a great game. I'm glad that this game matters. Like, it's important that this matters.
It's cool that it matters. And listen, unlike Baylor, Minnesota controls their destiny.
Yeah.
If Minnesota wins out, they're in the college football playoff. Legit. It doesn't matter that they're 17 right now. Yeah. They would 100% be in the college football playoff. So Tanner Morgan's a good story. PJ Fleck's a great story. Now it's going to be you're going up against some grown-ups, some adults in that front seven with Penn State. I think they have the advantage at wide receiver. I think Minnesota has the wide receivers to take advantage of Penn State's secondary. If, and it's caps locks. If they can block the animals that are up front for Penn State.
You can see any of them.
Which nobody has been able to do yet. So good luck to Minnesota on trying to accomplish that.
This isn't an all or nothing either. Minnesota as a football program can take a huge step forward, and it can be a great,
they already have.
Right, and it's a great year to be proud of, even if they get their butts whooped by Penn State, because Penn State is an elite team. There's no shame in saying, hey, we've taken a step forward. We're just not to Penn State's level. That's not the only game. The other one, obviously Baylor, we've talked a little bit. You just said they don't control their own destiny. They're 8-0. The committee has them at 12. They take on TCU. Like I said in the segment earlier, they got to win big at this point to make anybody really care, right? And even that may not be enough.
Well, there's not a lot on the schedule that's going to get people excited. When you have Oklahoma, not this week, but next week, obviously a huge showcase. But I think offensively, if I'm the committee, just me, and I'm watching these games, offensively they are very inconsistent. If I'm going to put them with the best teams in the country, and you're going to tell me they're going to go against Tua and Trevor and Joe, and Justin Fields, it's not going to end well. And they have a great defense. I love their defense, but there's a lot to see from a consistent standpoint from their offense. Their defense is good, really good, but to put them in the top tier, they're going to have to beat TCU today. They're going to have to beat Oklahoma, and they're going to have to beat Oklahoma again to be in the conversation. But even then, it's going to be, I think, tough for Baylor.
I think it's been fun this season to see teams like Baylor be undefeated, see Minnesota be undefeated, like Power 5 teams that typically they've had a hard time, or Baylor's had to deal with a lot of off-field issues and kind of build their program back up. I'm excited that we have storylines like this to talk about, or even for College Game Day to let's have a conversation about going to Waco, if they get this victory over TCU.
Yeah, might be next week, huh?
Yeah.
And I do think it was
Joanna, what you doing? Yeah. Saturday, Magnolia Farms.
Hey, just win.
Wherever you are.
Just win. Just win, Baylor, and
just win.
We might see you.
Just win.
To the point you guys have both made, though, it was interesting. The committee put Oklahoma at 9. There just isn't the equity ahead for Baylor to be able to get into the college football playoff versus the Pac-12 that hasn't gotten necessarily a lot of love, but by putting Utah and Oregon at 7-8, they really set themselves up in a situation where the Pac-12 can also affect their own destiny. So I'm a little surprised to be saying at this point in the year the Big 12 doesn't have the equity in front of them that the Pac-12 has. That's all.
we just said that. I'm good. I'm with you. I agree.
Right, so we are here, obviously, in Tuscaloosa for Alabama LSU. There's a lot of history to this matchup. When you talk about the fact that we've got a 1 versus 2 matchup for the first time in a long time, this is the first in-season meeting between a 1 and 2 team in the AP poll since number 1 LSU beat number 2 Bama 9-6 in Tuscaloosa back in 2011. Since then, 8 straight wins for Alabama, starting with a 21-0 win in the BCS championship. And all 8 of those losses, LSU's been shut out 3 times, held to 17 or less in all 8 games. But let's remember, under Coach O, LSU 8-3 against top 10 teams.
What are those 3 losses?
3 losses.
Who?
All to Alabama. So you can make the stats go either way on this.
Yeah. But we have a conversation about Coach O, though. I feel like people were coming in joking about whether or not he was the guy that really deserved the job. Was he the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th choice? Look what he's done. Look what he's built. And look at the stats that you just read off about
Was it fair, though, at the time to say that? Because it's not like he did a great job at Ole Miss. You had some questions. Right. It was fair to say that.
It was fair. But then we saw what he did as an interim head coach.
Yeah.
We saw what he did at USC.
Did a good job.
We saw what he did when he took over at LSU when he was there. We've seen that the players everywhere that he's gone have wanted that man to be their head coach for whatever reason, because he's a leader.
And you've seen him, just like Nick Saban, evolve. And you've seen him hire a new, totally different offense that now maximizes and is having success with that side of the football. So here's the thing. When you sit with Coach O and you've done it, I don't know if there's a more intense human being in the world. His eyes are popping. He is into every conversation, and he brings that every day and keeps his guys on edge. He's been innovative with his coordinators. Keeping Aranda was huge. Bringing in Joe Brady was huge. So he's going to have to continue to do it, but he's proved himself, there's no doubt.
He also connects with the personality of the program. When you talk about the best college football programs, you're talking about Dabo, you're talking about Saban, you're talking about guys that sort of personify the area, the region, the players, the community. That's Coach O. I mean, we learned that when we were at Game Day down at LSU.
100%.
Like, he is that community. That's why I think there's so much success that's sustainable for him there. He relates, and they relate to him.
No doubt.
You guys hear that? Do you guys hear Reese?
Commish.
Bring it. Bring it. Do what else? Uh-huh.
Great man once said, show your class. Have some fun, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, Reese fired up.
Hey, you
Reese
heard
is
what
fired
Reese
up.
just said. That's what he does. The conductor just got at the head of the train and said it's about time to pull out of the station because College Game Day is coming your way on ESPN. Turn it on right now. We're here in Tuscaloosa. We've been hanging out with Bama fans, hanging out with LSU fans. You've been watching Countdown to Game Day presented by Samsung QLED TV. Make sure you join us next week. We'll have a blast with you all week. And turn to College Game Day on ESPN now.
The wall